You've been there with the Iranian people. Have you been there? Because we're all happy. Us Iranians, you don't speak for us. I was born there. My family lives there. You don't speak for us. We are very happy with President Trump. We're very happy about what he.
There's many Iranians that are angry.
No, there's not many Iranians.
There is.
That's a lie. We are sick. Us Iranian people. My half-sister lives there. My family lives there. We're sick of white liberals telling us about Iran and its people.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So glad you're here for this one. So today we're sitting in on an absolutely electric panel where a room full of conservative women goes head-to-head with a liberal debater over two massive questions: whether the president's approach to Iran is actually freeing the Iranian people, and whether Christianity has anything to do with liberalism at all. And things get personal fast, especially when an Iranian-born woman decides she's had enough of being spoken for. You are going to want to see how that exchange unfolds. Trust me, the energy only climbs the longer this goes, so stick around all the way through because some of the sharpest moments land later than you'd expect. Also, I'm always curious who's tuning in, so drop a comment and let me know what city or country you're watching from. I love seeing how far this community reaches. Alright, enough from me, let's get into it.
I would say blaming this on Israel is absolutely ludicrous. This idea that Trump rushed into this because of Israel, when you take into consideration that he had actually talked to Israel and gotten them to stop bombing Iran during the 12-day war, bringing this to a temporary end before it just went up in flames again. Because ignoring evil, taking a soft approach to evil is never going to stop it. It's never going to free it. Right now, Trump in his second term, as well as in his first term, made amazing strides towards freeing Iran. In fact, he was the first U.S. president to even recognize the IRGC as a terrorist organization. Meanwhile, you had Democrat presidents such as Barack Hussein Obama that was releasing billions of dollars to the IRGC. You had Joe Biden, who not only released billions of dollars, but also released to them a spy in a negotiation that went absolutely horrifically wrong for us the month before October 7th. So Trump wants to free the Iranian people, but he wants to empower them to go in and do it by taking out these military opponents. And that's exactly what we're witnessing right now.
So if he wants to free the Iranian people, why on January 2nd did he tweet, "If Iran shoots and violently kills peaceful protesters, which their custom is, the USA will come to their rescue. We are locked, loaded, and ready to go." That was January 2nd, but we didn't get there until February 28th. Do you know how many Iranians died?
Yes,
as a result
a lot of
the
Iranians died.
How many?
Well, now it's about 80,000 that have died total.
Just from that tweet, how many died?
I don't know the number.
30,000.
Okay, so I'm from Iran originally, okay? And yes, we wanted it quick, but when you're doing military strategic, yes, thank you. For some reason, I'm having a brain fart. When you are strategic and doing things, you have to. It's all timing, okay? And it's
Why make that tweet at that time? Why not wait until you're actually ready to go?
He's letting them know. So the thing about Trump is he gives them an olive branch to do the right thing, which is what he always does. Here's an olive branch. I'm going to do this if you guys don't stop your nonsense. He gave them some time, because otherwise, then the liberals are going to scream and have their rallies, which they always do, but they're paid. We all know that, Neville, Roy Singham, and
I don't want to get into
well, see, I get to talk now. It's my turn. So you please stop talk blocking me. Okay, give me a second to respond to this, because it's my turn.
Just stay on the prompt.
I'm staying on the prompt, but all this makes sense. Okay, all of this is connected. We've got the heiress of Walmart funding these No Kings rallies. We've got Neville Roy Singham also funding these rallies. The real rallies are the ones at the federal building. Have you been there with the Iranian people?
Respectfully.
This is the part everyone needs to slow down and actually hear, because the conservative women on this panel come out swinging and they do not miss. The whole liberal framing rests on this fantasy that the president only acted because of pressure from another country, and the answer to that is just devastatingly simple. Blaming this on Israel is absolutely ludicrous, and you have to understand why that lands so hard. You don't get to claim someone is a puppet when that same person was the one telling Israel to pull back and stop bombing during the 12-day war. That's not a follower. That's someone steering the entire situation. And then comes the line that the left never wants to reckon with. The conservative side points out he was the first US president to even recognize the IRGC as a terrorist organization. Let me break down why that matters so much. For years, the previous administrations treated that group like a negotiating partner instead of what it actually is. We're talking about an organization with American blood on its hands, and the response from the other side was to send pallets of cash and call it diplomacy. So when someone finally draws a hard line, suddenly that's the reckless one? Come on. Here's the part that blows my mind. The liberal speaker tries to go on offense with the casualty argument, demanding to know how many Iranians died as a result. Big emotional swing, right? Except she gets asked the obvious follow-up and the answer is how many died? I don't know the number. You cannot build your entire moral case on a body count and then admit you don't actually know the body count. That's the whole argument collapsing in real time, and I genuinely respect that the conservative women refuse to let it slide.
Have you been there? Because we're all happy. Us Iranians, you don't speak for us. I was born there. My family lives there. You don't speak for us. We are very happy with President Trump. We're very happy about what he...
There's many Iranians that are angry.
There's not many Iranians.
There is.
That's a lie. We are sick, us Iranian people. My half-sister lives there. My family lives there. We're sick of white liberals telling us about Iran and its people. We love Benjamin Netanyahu and we love President Trump for what they did. They want to name cities after these people in Iran. So please don't speak for us. And what he did was strategic because with military operations, they have to have a structure and a plan. You don't go and do something and not know what you're doing. You have to have a plan. You have to have intelligence to know where to hit, so they don't hit places that have a lot of civilians. So you're thinking in a very irrational way. Okay, he thinks in a very rational way. That's why he had, when he took down those nuclear facilities, not a single casualty. Okay, it takes time to do that. Otherwise, you do kill a lot of civilians.
Okay, there's a lot there. I don't think my race has anything to do with this conversation, respectfully.
Yes, it does.
I don't think it does, right? I've talked to diaspora extensively. I've been very heavily interested and passionate about specifically Iran since October 7th. I went to Israel, actually. I've talked to officials in these lands. So the idea that I'm just like in some bubble and I have no idea what I'm talking about, and you assuming that because of my skin is...
No, you blamed Israel.
Simultaneously, there are two things that can be true. The Iranian people are delighted to see the evils of the Ayatollah punished and him killed and his leaders killed and them decimated. That's true, and I stand with Iran on that. I have no problem with the strikes that killed the Ayatollah. I think they are only good because he needed to die, and the people had been trying for years to free themselves, but you can't when they have guns and weapons and chemical gases against sticks and stones. So my empathy towards Iran being so excited at the hope of change is completely valid.
Okay, this right here is the moment the entire debate flips, and it's not even close. Because the second an Iranian-born woman opens her mouth, every theoretical argument from the other side just evaporates. She says it plainly, us Iranians, you don't speak for us. I was born there, my family lives there. And here's what people don't realize. There is no comeback to that. You can read every think piece, you can talk to every diaspora official you want, but you cannot out-credential the person whose actual family is living under that regime right now. And she goes further, and this is the line that should be framed on a wall. She says we're sick of white liberals telling us about Iran and its people. Wow. Think about how much courage that takes to say to someone's face on a panel. For years, the left has positioned itself as the voice of the oppressed, the great defender of brown people overseas. And here is an actual Iranian woman saying, no thank you. You do not represent me. Stop pretending you do. That is the entire savior complex getting dismantled in one sentence. Then she does something the other side completely fails to do. She explains the actual logic of the operation. She points out he thinks in a very rational way and backs it up with when he took down those nuclear facilities, not a single casualty. That's the part you have to sit with. Military precision isn't recklessness, it's the opposite. You don't hit nuclear sites with 0 casualties by accident. That takes planning, intelligence, and patience, which is exactly what the other side keeps pretending doesn't exist. And I love that the conservative side never takes the bait when the liberal tries to make her own race the issue. Nobody cornered her on that. She brought it up. The Iranian women simply spoke from lived experience, and that's not an attack, that's reality.
My frustration is only with Trump. And the issue is that if you want regime change, we have the techniques for that. We already have this. Do you know what the motto of the Green Berets is? Does anybody know? It's de oppressor liber, to free the oppressed. The entire purpose of the Green Berets, the core mission, is called unconventional warfare. They go into local populations, empower them to fight tyranny. One of the issues facing Iran right now, because of the way that he managed the strikes, is that there's no way to collectivize the people. There's no internet, there's no person, and they still have no weapons. If this was something Trump wanted, the American military could have achieved this. But instead, he sent out an errant tweet 2 months before an invasion, which led the people thinking that help was coming soon. It came 2 months later. If he wanted to be tactical and smart, if he wanted to free the Iranians, you'd make that tweet 2 days before you kill the Ayatollah, so that as their uprisings are coming up, you can send in Green Berets to support them, and you can mobilize the population to take back their country.
So here's the thing about the timeline that you're speaking about, right? One thing you haven't mentioned is the fact that Trump met with the leaders of Iran 2 days before the strikes, okay? Trying yet again to reach another peace treaty with them, and they just are not negotiable.
Well, Kushner met with them.
Okay. Agreed. Yes, but the Trump administration, right?
Did the negotiations end, or did they strike before the ending window of the negotiations? Do you know?
I'm not 100% sure.
So
but
they gave
what
2 weeks for negotiation, and they struck in the middle of it.
Well, from my understanding, they were meeting up until the Thursday before that strike, okay? The other thing to acknowledge is that what you're saying is they should have sent people into the ground, the Green Berets, to go into the ground and help the people. We're talking about a tyrannical regime. If you think that these people, our side, would get into the place where they can actually reach the people without extreme opposition, you're making things up.
No, getting rid of their
ability to fight back, right? Stunting them first is a good thing for the Iranian people. It gives them, even if they don't have someone right now to jump in and take over. Look at what happened in Venezuela, right? We took out Maduro and then
reestablished the regime. Yes, true.
Exactly.
And here's where the liberal argument really shows its hand. Because listen to what she's actually proposing. She's frustrated, and her big solution is that he sent out an errant tweet 2 months before an invasion, so therefore the timing was malicious. But think about this for 1 second. Her entire complaint is that he didn't move fast enough and didn't put enough American boots on the ground fast enough. That's a strange hill for someone who claims to be anti-war to die on. And the conservative response is just smarter on every level. She points out the administration met with the leaders of Iran 2 days before the strikes, still trying for a peace deal. So the idea that this was some bloodthirsty rush, it's the opposite. Diplomacy was on the table until the very last moment, and the regime walked away from it. That's not on us. Then comes the point that I think is the most important thing said in this whole stretch. The conservative woman explains that getting rid of their ability to fight back, stunting them first, is a good thing for the Iranian people. And this is the strategic wisdom the other side just refuses to grasp. You cannot ask an unarmed population to rise up against a regime that has chemical weapons and tanks while that regime is still at full strength. You weaken the oppressor first. History backs this up too. Think about post-war Japan. We didn't hand a free society to a nation while its war machine was still intact. The structure had to be broken first before anything new could be built, and it became one of the strongest democracies on earth. And the cherry on top? The liberal side actually brings up a regime change example to support herself and immediately admits it went badly. She does the work of dismantling her own point. When your best evidence undercuts you, the debate is already over. So what do you guys think of this? Leave your thoughts down in the comments, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.